Hello, my name is Dr. Peter Tobin. I'd like to welcome you to this brief overview introduction video for the Protection of Personal Information 2-day training workshop, which is being convened by Marcus Evans, a globally recognized training organization that will be held here in Johannesburg in November. The details of the workshop, the date, the venue, and how to make bookings will be displayed during the progress of this video at the bottom of the screen. Now, I've been involved in data protection, compliance, privacy, which in South Africa is generally known under the term POPI, Protection of Personal Information, related to the legislation that we have that was passed in this country at the back end of 2013. And over the last 3 or 4 years, I've been working extensively as both a trainer and a consultant, helping organizations prepare for the implications of the POPI Act. Data privacy is something that's been a growing trend internationally. Nearly 30 years ago in the UK was one of the examples of how legislation was passed to bring into force some of the principles that were enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights under the United Nations. And later in the 90s, this was picked up by the European Union, and a directive that was issued back in the 90s has been subsequently updated under the new General Data Protection Regulation, which applies to European countries and to those organizations supplying services into Europe. So during the 2-day workshop, we'll not only look at the local South African situation in terms of data privacy and protection, the POPI Act, and the related legislation, Promotion of Access to Information Act, or PIA, which form the two balance arms of the information regulator here in South Africa, but we'll look at the global context as well and take into account the requirements of the General Data Protection Regulation, as it will apply when it comes into full effect in May during 2018. So the clock is already very much ticking on the international legislative front, in particular in Europe. And here in South Africa, we've seen action by our information regulator since appointment back in December 2016, with a number of pronouncements on the strategy and the operating plan that the regulator sees for itself over the next 3 to 5 years, as well as some initial issuing of regulations which came out in September 2017. And they're now open for comment and feedback by November, and that'll cover the period leading up to the workshop, which is happening here in Johannesburg. The sort of topics that we're going to cover will be very practical and will take us through some of the steps involved in how to get ready for the implementation of protection required under the POPI Act, issues such as getting consent, specifying purpose, making sure that the appropriate security safeguards are in place. We'll take a structured approach looking at how to reduce the risk of non-compliance through the appointment of your information officer, one of the roles that was highlighted recently when the information regulator published the draft regulations. We'll have a look at what's involved in getting your staff on board and making sure that you have the appropriate education and training for your organization, not only now but into the future, as you aim to and need to sustain ongoing compliance with the POPI Act. We'll have a look at some case studies. As I'm making this video, Equifax is very much in the news, having been one of the major data breach stories of the last couple of months. And we'll pick up on that and explore it in more detail and have a look at some of the lessons learned that there are for organizations in terms of what needs to be done about preparing for effective data protection. I'm looking forward to talking to you and being with you at the workshop. We'll be at the Protea Wonders by Marriott. It's a lovely venue, great facilities, easy reach of the highway. It's fairly central to the northern suburbs of Johannesburg. And we'll be running the workshop over 2 days and looking forward to helping you get ready for your POPI compliance project in your organization. If you're already underway with your project, it'll be a good benchmark for you to look at some of the local and international best practice to make sure you're on the right track. You'll see the details of who to book through at the bottom of the screen, and I look forward to being with you at the workshop. Thanks for watching this video.